Okay. Good evening, parents of of my students who are in art two, art two and design. Right now, the state of California is reclassifying uh, art as design. Also, it's something I've been teaching for a long time. I used to be an illustrator for in my twenties, in my misspent youth. I have periods one and two of visual art two. It's more advanced. First semester, we focus on the art elements and the principles of design. Mostly the art elements we focus on with the design principles include lines, shape, form, space. Very important for designing in many fields, such not only architecture, painting, if you want to become an art teacher, but also if you want to be a designer, an architect, video game designer. This is the foundation. This is the 101, which we also teach in Art 1, but at a higher level. Students will be drawing anatomy too. Uh, for our community standards, they will be doing action human forms, as well as revisiting their self-portrait. Now, I did ask my Arts 2 students, and I do apologize for the video not being like your other classrooms, but they did design their own portfolio, which I show them how to make at home. This is like the art students or the art person or designer or architects first resume, their homemade portfolio. I know some students wanted to buy it, but I told them there's a tradition of making your own with good old fashioned white paper or print paper. So they did their own. This was their first art project, so I taught them bookbinding. Like I said, I was briefing the publishing, and they did a first assignment, and they reviewed using stippling. They did the forms, labeled the landscape. A lot of them totally forgot this, where the foreground is, where the middle ground is, background, horizon line, atmosphere, as well as from a vanishing point. So they did design these three forms. We did it twice because due to learning at home, we had to use COVID-19. Basically, my camera broke down, my computer got hacked. So this is the second try I did. I'm learning a lot. Oh, there's a value still there too. I'm as you're seeing right now, I'm putting this on YouTube because I had some technical issue doing it through the Google Classroom for my first art period too. And we also did, when we did our visit at the Broad online, because of social distancing, and we were supposed to have a curator explaining the selection they curated of all the contemporary art pieces they did for both Art 1 students and Art 2. The day we had our tour was canceled, the curator's visit. I had to do it myself. I knew the assistant curator who was working with me prior to this. And basically, after they were done, the Art 2 students had to learn to do the opposite of what they did in the first drawing. They had to create a self-portrait in an abstract method in the style of Jean-Michel Basquiat, the pop artist during the postmodern age of the 80s. He was supposed to be the protege of Andy Warhol. And we had to use our subconscious. We had to do stream of consciousness while we designed this. And you probably want to see, how do I do this? Well, I first start off with a Google Meet instruction with the students. And I am going into my Art 2 class. And I'm going to show you how I log in and check my emails. I'm going to place you guys, this is my Father Soul Live study. I've been working on here since March with my art students. I'm by training, as you notice, there's a painting back here I've never finished. It's a practical joke I'm doing of my sister as a nun. My field is oil painting. It's my background, and I'm an art historian as well as a theorist in college. But my passion has always been drawing, painting, sculpting. As an illustrator, I had to review illustration pieces on not only fashion but furniture, design of automobiles, whatever we advertise in that publication. I had to go through that many years ago in my 20s. But as one hits a certain age, a younger person comes in and you get pushed out, basically. But I had to take care of my parents. I had to move back to the Antelope Valley and take care of my father, my late father, who's no longer with us, and my mom. Actually, I went to the local Catholic high school after I was shipped back from boarding school, and we couldn't. But anyways, long story short, I grew up out here. I'm a member of the community in between Palmdale and Lancaster and Leona Valley and Lake Hughes, close where I was close to the fires. So basically, I'm going to go old camera style, except using furniture and my Chromebook. So I'm going to show you what I do with you guys. And here's the little. So your children do see my students see basically a lot of this. So if you're going to see this, I basically going to do a close up. I was trying to use a portable camera that, of course, would not function. So basically, I log into Google Classroom. We go into, whoops, sorry, folks, Classworks, and we divide everything. Hopefully, you guys won't be able to see it. We go by weeks, so everything, all the assignments are based weekly. Okay, and right now students are working on this week. They're working on their self-portrait, which I showed you in the John Basquiat style. So we start the day. We go in, and I wonder if I'm going to try one more time. I'm going to try to align both screens. I'm not a big fan of this, but basically the assignments are posted. I do finish the grades in Google in Gradebook, and students can email me. My hours are basically as I posted in Google Classroom. They're from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. The same Google page I use, the Google Meet for them, from 1 to 3. But I also have hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the middle of the day, and I post it up there. I will email that with you as well. So basically, we go in here, and example, we have an assignment here, and I show this to my students every day. They are my students, your children, and I come down here, and this is my period 3. I apologize. Let me go into R2. There we go. So again, they see this, and you will see if I scroll down here, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, folks, so you at home can see what's going on. Let's go a little bit bigger. Okay. So if you can see basically here, sorry about the illumination. If you go in here, you will see there's the Google Meet. There's the code for only parents and students. We've been having some issues, not only us in our district. I have an 8-year-old niece and a nephew in high school too, and people have been. There's always those mean people have nothing else better to do than torment positive things in life. So, anyways, we did have some minor scruffs, but basically, if you need to talk to me, I always post in each period by the end, 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. You can click on here, add the code, or even call me. The numbers do change, I have to be honest with you, for security purposes. But the Google Meet and the code stays the same for students and parents. You can talk to me from the period. We'll give you the schedule too, and I'll email it to you. As you notice on your student's, your child's period. So if it's either period 1 or period 6 for R2. So we go into classwork, which I show to my students. And right now we have these big bubbles. I don't think you can see it too well. So I also share the screens with them. And we go on here. And they are working on their portrait done in the style of Jean-Michel Basquiat. So we go step by step. I put more than one video. I put the video from the road. And you can see me here doing the instruction and talking to them. And this is the worksheet reference the students can use. Okay, sorry, that was my mother. She wanted to know who I was talking to while I was recording this. It's a warm day. I'm wearing a coat. So, and I put closed caption. And basically, I show them it. This is the instruction that I showed them, and it's about almost an hour's long. Since we substitute a lot of stuff we don't have at home. I don't have a light box either, so I actually traced a portrait of myself on my window. How I used to do years ago when I couldn't afford a light box. And they did their abstract drawing, this sample, same thing I do it for them. And their step-by-step instruction. Unlike in the past, I used to give them a handout. Now they have a video that on YouTube, which you're watching right now. That I really wanted to meet you guys on Google Meet face to face and talk. And I love this That's my favorite part of back to school night. And unfortunately, they wanted us to record because the same incident. That's also happening to my niece and nephew up in Reno, Nevada. Because for some reason, people just there's always a person has. Oh, anyways, so our students see the process. Even our textbook is online this year. They're using the art and design textbook, a new edition, um, and basically they are we're covering more abstract art or contemporary art in art two, whereas in art one, I focus on some of the chief masters or methods, simple technique method. So again, we were doing stream of consciousness. I wanted to do an abstract color drawing with only three limited colors, which our students are doing. Your children are working on this week, and we were trying to do it in the style of Basquiat and Picasso. They were abstract art is basically like Jacques Derrida said, deconstruction, going going back to a primitive backwards to find the main idea, the thesis, or the big idea. And they're basically putting like we're using the top of our heads. So I asked them put 5 places or how many places you ever moved. I lived in 5 different places. So I did that, um, and we were using lines of expression. I am not a big impressionist, as you can see in my study. I am more of a traditionalist. I was raised that way. So that is what we're covering. We're also going to be doing human drawing portrait in the human form this semester, and by hopefully by the end of we're also going to be doing a mobile sculpture. But hopefully by next semester we'll be back in the classroom in the studio when the numbers drop of COVID-19, and we're going to go into painting. That is my chief medium. It really hurt me a lot last year when I couldn't teach. We were on the verge of doing the color. We did the color wheel and some value strips. We were going to start painting the landscape, and in March, and when we were sent home, I was heartbroken. So with so that's my chief medium is painting. I do have had some shows. So again, our students will be working on that. Right now, I am showing them how to be a colorist, focusing on abstract, and we're going to go back to realism in art. They're going to be working. They're going to do basically their diagnostic tests. They get full credit, but they're going to get. I'm going to ask them to. You're going to have to draw your real self portrait as it looks, to your best of your abilities, and they're going to hide it in their portfolio. Again, they're going to hide it in their portfolio, just like we did here. This is like their notebook. And I know some of them bought a really nice notebook, and they're like, "But Mr. Navas, why do we have to make this?" There's a multi-purpose for this. This is like their resume. So if they go for a job interview and they get asked, "Do you have any particular skills?" They can always replace the cover sheet. Not mention they did this in high school, and they go, "Yes, I do have some skills. I took some course in design," and you can pull this out. And this is my self-made sketchbook, and they can see this. So we'll write an artist statement or designer statement, as we call it now. And wherever they're going for a job interview, they can use this. Also for college too. This is if they want to take an advanced class. So let's say they go to college next year, and they want to take a video programming class, and they'll say, "Have you had your introductory to an art class here at the college?" But they've already had art too. All they have to do is pull out this portfolio, this little booklet, show it to them, or how many they have made throughout this year, show it to the instructor, and they don't have to take the 110. They can go straight to the 130 or the 210. The 210 is more advanced, more like oil. That was the number of the oil painting class I had to take, the last one before I did the graduate study. But that's what they have to do, and it helps them out. They're not going to put all their art projects in here. Some art projects, hopefully by October, we'll get in the shipment of art supplies we order. We're very limited on budget this year. So we're going to see what we can have by then. And I will let them know, and they would have to go pick it up at the attendance office. So the portfolio is very important. They need to have it. It looks better when it's homemade. So they can take credit for this. I even tell them, take credit that you came up with this, not me. That's the goal of the teacher. Show them the skills in design, in art, and let them take credit for it. You know, not so. So our next project is going to be their self-portrait, but also they're going to be doing again. They're going to go from realism back to abstract, and they can see what the 20th century worked in art. I'm not teaching art history anymore. I rather be drawing and designing. So examples of these videos are posted for them. I'm going to show you again. I not only have this one, and this is what we're working on today. But let's go. Let's see the portfolio. So we made a portfolio, and I'm going to go back to the portfolio. Actually, I'm not going to even. It's already posted for them. So I'm going to pretend I uploaded a video on YouTube, and these are linked together. These assignments are all linked for them as a reference right here. So they go down. So I have a lot of students who have not turned in early assignments. So making our own sketchbook. This was my favorite first project. There's only 2 students who have not turned it in for this period. Or it could be period 6. So I'm going to go in here. And there's my link. And this one doesn't take too long. It actually took 14 minutes. So they basically grab 10 sheets of paper. As you can see, they grabbed 10 sheets of paper, folded it, and created their own notebook. I'm going to skip around because I don't want to bore the parents with the fine details. And using a stapler and some glue, they right now did the binding for their pages. Whoops, sorry about that, folks. And basically, let's get to the finished product. So right now, that was for my Art 1 students 2, and my Art 2. So I'm making them do portfolios, also if they want to take an advanced class, like next year if they want to sign up for film. We do have a film teacher now. No, we don't have video production. We have cinematography or film, the fancy word for film. And we also have AP Studio Art with Miss Murphy in photography. And yes, I have to do double computers now because for some reason, sometimes the sound doesn't, we have some technical issues. Sometimes the sounds are not working for a student's particular computer at home. Or for some reason, I do my link through the general Google Meet, it's not working. So this is why I have the second computer so they can hear the sound. Especially, it was very important during our field trip last week. We had it on Thursday and Friday. Thursday for period 1 for Art 2, and period 6, the other R2 had it on Friday. They had a different list. They had to find a piece of art, contemporary art from the 1960s up to now. The Broad Museum has a lot of contemporary art of the century, the 21st century. It's in downtown LA. I showed them. I had one student who even critiqued the building next to Disney Hall. The Broad Museum is not really postmodernist, it's a hyper-realistic building. So that's what they did. They criticized any of the art, including the building, because we met the architect who discussed her theories and how she put the veil because of Disney's Hall's reflection. Frank Gehry, who's a postmodern architect, who's done the Bilbao Museum in the Basque Country in Spain. He's done an opera house in, I forgot which region of, in Australia, not the Sydney, that was somebody else, but he actually worked as a student there. And he worked on that one, but there was another, and he has a particular style. He likes shiny metallic things that look like waves or sails. But he lives now in LA. He did the Disney Hall, and there was an issue between the Broad Museum and because the light was reflecting too hard, so the architect designed a veil, a cement concrete veil that's outside of it. It looks like a fish, like a beehive, with a hole, like something punch in or shot a hole through it, and it was really nice. So I had this student, one of my period 6 R2 students, who actually wrote a criticism on it, and he did a really good job. And I found out the student wants to be an architect, so he's in the right course because we do a lot of perspective drawing. That's another thing I didn't mention. In R2, we do focus on multi-perspective space drawing to create form. Very important if you're going to be a draft artist and an engineer too. So we used to offer drafting in high school a long time ago. We don't. It's now up to us art teachers to do it. And I'm one of the few teachers who's I'm That's my background as an illustrator. And as I mentioned, they will be doing a lot of drafting, form drawing. So not just technical, because it bores some of the students. Other students want to go. Certain young ladies want to go into the fashion industry. Others want to do the human. They want to focus on anatomy. I understand that. I'm more of a landscape architect person. That's my passion, architecture too. I love to draft buildings and stuff like that. I almost when I was in high school, I wanted to be an architect. When I left high school, I went to UCLA briefly, dropped out because I got a job offer working for a publishing company. He immediately hired me as an assistant illustrator, and in a couple of years, I was the assistant editor of illustration. And I decided to go back to college afterwards. For my parents, my father got on my case. I believe it or not, the first time I was not an art major. My first major was English lit and business because I changed my mind from architecture. I just go, there's too many people in architecture, and I can't see this industry. I thought it was too oversaturated. So when I went back to college, I majored in literature and history. Got my bachelor's in history, and then because I didn't want to major in as an undergrad in philosophy at that time, I didn't like the requirements in the Cal State system. And then I went into my graduate work. I focused on the aesthetics. I focused on history, but also the aesthetics, which is the branch of philosophy of art. And that's how I ended up back here. I was teaching art as another passion of mine. It was also I had a couple of businesses with some friends uh, down in Pasadena, but we own art galleries. But basically, all my lesson plans have been done. I taught summer school too, so a lot of my lesson plans I did over the summer are going to be revamped and reincorporated. But it does focus using videos and cameras. And again, I am available to you guys from what parents. Uh, and I consider if it's a grandma or an uncle, I had to raise my godson. His 5 years, 3 years in high school, 2 years in college. So this is why me and my wife don't want to have children. I love my godson. He works for Disney now. He's a product. He majored in film production. But I know what you're going through. I've raised a teenager. Didn't have it was not the joy when they're small. I had him full grown at 15 when that's fortunate accident. I had to take his father wasn't around and his mom couldn't handle him. So I know what you're going through. So if you need to talk to me, either why they're not turning in their assignments, I they just have to get. I'm an ECA, even for art too. They just have to do the work. That's all, and it's not that challenging. So if they can submit the artwork, they'll get a grade. You know, so all our assignments are posted. I do accept late work. I have a 2 week tardy policy. After 2 weeks, after the due date, 10% is taken off after the 2 weeks. I tell them a week ahead when grades are due. I remind them several times. My class, how does it start? Well, I welcome them into the digital classroom. I send an email out to them, telling them please link in right now so you can log in at least 5 minutes ahead or 15 minutes ahead. I've done it really early sometimes. I log them in. Then I take attendance. I do a quick attendance, or I kind of warm them up with, I don't want to do an attendance. It's kind of uh, cold start. I'd rather have them. We have a Q&A, question and answers. I'll show them what we're going to be working on. I do a little intro. We take a little break. I do attendance. The first attendance, I do attendance 3 times. Call them out the old-fashioned way. I share the camera with them so they can see what's on screen when I call them out. I call out their last name or first name. And I apologize if they don't go by another name. It's very hard for me first couple of weeks to go by a name I don't have on the list, and I can't write it down on paper like I used to. I do have sticky papers, and I'm trying my best. Like I said, and I do attendance. Then we go back to the lesson. They do see the video instruction, and I tell them, this is your reference. This is your handout for the assignment. And then I stop. I don't go cold turkey, and I stop, ask question and answer if they need anything clarified. I'm begging for my students to ask me questions. Some of them they're very quiet. I don't know if it's from 7 in the morning, 7:30 till noon, while they're as quiet as church mice, not like in the classroom. And I miss that. I miss the conversation. They can talk among themselves, but I really encourage them if they have questions. I tell them any question is a gift to me to answer them. That's the purpose I got into education. Um, I've taught art history in college level, so that's why I missed the lecturing process. I'm also I've taught this drafting too, uh, but my passion is, like I said, my as an artist, I've done art oils, but it's not just about being an artist; it's about being a designer now, and my other passion, architecture. So they will be doing all these multiple units. They're actually scaffolded on steps. They're not just we're doing this or that. No, no, no. They have to be scaffolded for semester and second semester because we're building up to their final for first semester as well as second semester. Um, and it's a long process, and it takes one. Each lesson is linked to the other lesson. So think of it like a link of chains going upward to the prize, and that's what they're doing. That's what I explained to them, and I need their participation. I always check, as I mentioned. I stop my video lecture. I ask them because I'm also talking over my lecture, correcting something else I can do much better than I did it when I did the video. But I also ask them for if they have any questions or what would they do. I want to have that Socratic method of question and answer with them. That's how we learn in the Socratic method in the classroom online. It feels kind of cold, I know, through the internet, but that is our goal to do that. Um, I really wanted to meet with you folks. So, like I said, if you have any questions, now, please feel free to contact me. I posted my hours, and I'm also going to email it to you. My early morning hours, which is if I'm going to look at my calendar right now, my early morning hours with for students is, and I do put the link up there, and I will send it to you, parents, with the code too. It's only a second period that I have no. It's from 9:05 to 10:25 on Mondays and Thursdays. I really don't. I do have it on Wednesday from 9:15 to 8:50, but it's really short period. And then from 1 o'clock till 3 o'clock, I meet with students for tutoring. Today was I helped a student, then I helped her out with her Spanish. It's okay. I actually I went to school in Spain, and that's where my nationality is. I'm a U.S. citizen, but I was born here, but I also have a Spanish nationality. So I'm there from 1 o'clock till 3 o'clock for them, Monday through Friday. After 3 o'clock, I have to log off. I do put in grades till 3 o'clock, a little bit after 3 o'clock, but I stop. I'll be honest with you, I stop till 5 o'clock. I tell the students at 3, but I go through grade book till 5 o'clock till I'm done, and then I have to spend time with my family. I take care of my mother, and I have a wife. So, and then occasionally my godson when he shows up. Uh, sorry, chill. Hi, kids, gotta love them. So, um, and I also have two nephews, my niece and my nephew. They live up in Reno, Nevada, with my sister and her husband. So I know I'm. That's my background. I've been teaching 15 years at our school district. I was for 10 years almost a long-term sub teacher. I was teaching at College of the Canyons in Woodbury University, and I've been teaching art for 6 years. I used to be a long-term sub. I always got stuck teaching either history, English lit, or something in my field. I always wanted to pick something in my field. Long-term jobs for Highland and other schools in our Antelope Valley Unified High School District. So again, feel free to contact me from 1 o'clock till 3 o'clock. I left a link there for you to call me anytime if you need to talk to me. I might put the link. I don't know if we're allowed to be on there. If you need to, but that is my link. The parents need to talk to me. And as I mentioned, on Mondays and Thursdays from 8, same link, from 9:05 to 10:25. That will be my meeting hours, and I will send it to all the parents with the code to log in. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I wanted to meet you guys one on one, but our district told us to record ourselves. I was going to use the Google. I'm doing the YouTube so you know what our students go through and the assignment and the link. But I also have it in the front for you guys to, check the video. And it says, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Okay, thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening and enjoy your next period too. Good night. And this was R2.